these topics and these things get in their arena, listen to what they say and see if the question gets actually answered. Go ahead, bro.
John chapter 13 and verse 13. You call me master and Adonai, and you say, well, for so I am. If I then, your Adonai and master, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example, that you should do as I have done to you.
Mm-hmm.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his master, neither he that is sent greater than he that sent him.
Mm-hmm.
If you know these things, happy are you if you do them.
If you do them, happy are you if you do them. Christian mean Christ-like. How can you be Christ-like if you didn't do any of the things that he's done? Go ahead.
I speak not of you all. I know whom I have chosen. But that the scripture may be fulfilled, he that eats bread with me has lifted up his heel against me. Now I tell you before it come, that when it comes to pass, you may believe that I am he. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that receives whomsoever I send receives me, and he that receives me receives him that sent me.
Now, there's going to be a whole lot of people that are going to be heartbroken when they realize that they've denied Yahshua. Now, they don't believe that they've denied Yahshua because they're not going to see Yahshua. Who they going to see is some hair-faced brother who look like me. And Yahweh going to say, no, you denied me. I didn't deny you. I swear, I promise you, I ain't deny you. Yeah, you remember that hair dude I sent to teach you? That wasn't my episode. Yeah. But he had a job to do. And when you denied him, you denied me. And the same for all the other brothers that he has ordained to go and teach that word. See, people think that they're going to see Yahshua physically and deny him. No. That's not how you're going to deny him. You're going to deny him by denying. What does it say? When whomsoever I send, verily I say unto you, he that receives whomsoever I send receives me. And he that receives me receives him that sent me. That statement works in the opposite as well. Go to Matthew chapter 25. See? That statement goes both ways. So people don't think they accepting Yahshua when they accept the teachings. See, there's certain things that if you are really doing it in the right way, you don't even have to think about what it really is. That's why it says, when the Gentiles which have not the law do the things that are contained in the law, they have automatically become a law unto themselves. So that means they didn't need the law to tell them to do righteous acts. It was truly in their heart to want to please Yahweh their Elohim. So they didn't need a law that told them, well, we got to keep the Sabbath because the law said. Once you find out that it is something that is pleasing unto your Elohim, you want to do those things that are pleasing unto your Elohim. Same thing people do when they have natural spouses. There's a whole lot of women that deal with football. They can't stand football. They see a touchdown, talking about home run. Look, they ain't got a home run. Baby, that's the wrong game. It's the wrong game. It's not a home run. It's a touchdown. She only in it because he's in it. What consider Yahweh your Elohim? He said all these things are important to him, but you ain't dealing with none of them. So how much you love him? Matthew chapter 25, and let's read verses 31 through 46.
When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divides his sheep from the goats.
Right. But see, the people think that they going to be separated from this because, they supposed to be raptured up, and they're going to be in the sky, and then they're going to be looking down at all the stuff that everybody else going through. So they done already separated themselves. So Christ ain't going to be able to do this to them because, see, they over Christ. See? They in charge of him. Go ahead.
And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come you, blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world.
But once again, this don't include Christians because they already there. See, because according to their doctrine, they just died and they already went to heaven. So Yahshua don't get to separate them because they separate themselves. See, so they're in charge. They told him what to do. Go ahead.
For I was an hungered, and you gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came on to me.
Hey, let me tell you something. Ain't that like going to jail, boy? You find out who your friends are. You go to jail, don't nobody come see you, boy. Nobody write you. Nobody put no money on your book. Can't get no snacks. Boy, everything for sale in jail. If you don't know nobody that been in jail, you don't understand how much money the jail make. You got to buy everything in jail. Here it is. These are poor people. They ain't making no money. They in jail. How they get the money is from all their family members. You got to pay for this. You got to pay for that. And then you got to buy it from the jail little ordering book. So all their money circulate from amongst one another. You got to pay bond whether you guilty or not. And when they say, you know what, man, we looked at this. You are not guilty. Case dismissed. Thank you, Your Honor. Now, I paid $2,000 to get out of jail. Who I go see to get that $2,000? Oh, no, you're not going to get that back. But Your Honor, y'all said I'm not guilty. You wasn't guilty. But you had to pay for your freedom. Yeah, but the charges was false, Your Honor. And you just said they was false. Case dismissed. So when I'm going to get my $2,000? You ain't getting that $2,000. You're not going to get that back. That's just one of the wicked devices in this wicked system. Go ahead.
Verse 37. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Adonai, when saw we you and hungered and fed you, or thirsty and gave you drink?
So the righteous don't even know. They don't even know what he's talking about. What are you talking about? We did this. Because it was already in their heart to do it. So they didn't consider that they was doing it to Yahshua. They were doing it to whoever they encountered. That's what happens when the law is written in your heart. You ain't walking around. You don't need fringes hanging all off your hat, hanging off your heels, and hanging off your shirt, and hanging off your socks. Then you look like a big moving lampstand walking around, and the law got to remind, what says the law about this? What says the law about that? What says the law about, the law says I need to do this. The law says I need to do that. Because it's already in your heart to do it. So they don't even know, the righteous don't even know they've done this stuff to Yahshua. What are you talking about? When somebody say, man, I appreciate you for loaning me that money. What money, man? I ain't loaning you no money. What are you talking about? No, man, I appreciate, man. They helped me out a lot, man, when you gave me that money. What money? Go ahead.
Verse 38. When saw we you a stranger and took you in, or naked and clothed you? Or when saw we you sick or in prison and came unto you? And the king shall answer and
Go ahead.
And say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren,
yes,
you have done it unto me.
When you did it to the least of these, you did it unto me. So when you denied them, you denied me. But they don't know the least of these are the servants of Yahweh. See? That's why the whole earth is kissing up to the fake Jews and doing all the dirt to the real Jews. Yahweh has tricked them because they're doing all their deeds for the wrong reasons. That's why they have been tricked into believing that the imposters are the Jews, and they sending money hand over foot to them. They got the Christian Fellowship for the Jews. They sending them millions upon millions. Richest people, and they still get more money. Getting all of this money from people, and it's people with a twisted heart not knowing that they giving to the wrong people. So the same folk will be like, the Jews are God's chosen people. We will definitely write them this check, $20,000. Then they see you and be like, move, nigga! I thought you wanted to love God's chosen people. I did, the white Jews, I did that. And I want you to get your niggerdom out of here. Right. That's how Yahweh exposed the hearts of men. See? While you thinking and you doing all of that for the wrong reason, he got you. Go ahead.
Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, depart from me, you cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was an hungered, and you gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink.
Right. And they're going to be arguing, no, but I've given to the Christian Fellowship for the Jews. I did look, I have my receipt right here. It's on my taxes. Go ahead.
For I was a stranger, and you took me not in, naked, and you clothed me not, sick and in prison, and you visited me not.
No, I can prove I've got the little Jews from Russia, and I've sent them to Israel. What are you talking of? I've done all these great things in your name. Go ahead.
Then shall they also answer him, saying, Adonai, when saw we you an hungered, or a thirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto you?
Right. I've done all these great things. I've sent all these white people to Israel. What are you speaking of? Right. See, because their heart was twisted, they did all of it to the wrong people, thinking that they were going to get some kind of credit, and found out they didn't get no credit because they were having the wrong vote. See, that's what we do. We put all our time and energy into helping the wrong folk. Go ahead.
Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you did it not to one of the least of these, you did it not to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal.
Right. And these people are arguing because they think that they've done all of these great deeds. But they've done them all in the wrong area the entire time. So think about that. The entire time that they've done all of these deeds, all of them were misplaced. Because they've done them to all of the wrong people. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 8. See, they have denied Yahshua the king while not even knowing it. First Samuel chapter 8, and let's start that at verse 1.
And after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines and subdued them. And David took Methegma out of the hand of the Philistines, and he smote Moab and measured them with a line, casting them down to the ground.
Where you at?
I'm in 2 Samuel.
Yeah, you had the wrong Samuel, brother. You had the wrong Samuel.
I'm reading the other Samuel.
Hey, you got the wrong. Samuel must got a twin, cause my book ain't matching up with yours, Jack.
I'm on the sequel.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you done went to the second movie. I need you to go back to the first.
Verse 1. And it came to pass when Samuel was old that he made his sons judges over Israel. Now the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second, Abiah. They were judges in Beersheba. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, and took bribes, and perverted judgment. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together, and came to Samuel unto Ramah, and said unto him, Behold, you are old, and your sons walk not in your ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people, in all that they say unto you, for they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them.
Right. So just like the people denied Yahshua, they had already denied Yahweh. See, they denied Yahweh by asking for a king, not understanding that you got a king. Yahweh of hosts is your king that rules over you. But no. We want one that we can see. We want one just like all the other nations. Go ahead.
According to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me, and served other gods, so do they also unto you. Now therefore hearken unto their voice, howbeit yet protest solemnly unto them, and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them.
Right. You can tell people that the path that they're going down is a bad path. You can tell them this is what's gonna happen to you if you deal with this. No, I want what I want. Go ahead.
And Samuel told all the words of Yahweh unto the people that asked of him a king. And he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen. And some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint him captains over thousands, and captains over 50s, and will set them to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war and instruments of his chariots. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers. And he will take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. And he will take the tenth of your seed and of your vineyards, and give to his officers and to his servants.
Right. Now, you have a holy setup where your giving is going to the priest. Now, he will take a tenth of your seed. Wait a minute, there's a tax there. So now you already got what's going to the Levites. That's the holy setup. Now, you about to get yourself another tax. You sure this is what you want to do? Because now you finna lose another 10%. Good.
And he will take your men servants and your maid servants and your goodliest young man and your asses, and put them to do his work. He will take the tenth of your sheep, and you shall be his servants. And you shall cry out in that day because of your king which you shall have chosen you.
Yeah, the king which you have chosen have now taken a tenth of your seed, of your vineyards, to give to his officers and his servants. So that's on top of the stuff that you done already gave Yahweh. You putting this burden on yourself because you want to be like everybody else. Go ahead.
And Yahweh will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, no, but we will have a king over us, that we also may be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us, and go out before us, and fight our battles.
Yeah, thank you for giving us all that info, and everything, man. That was really nice. But like we said before, give us a king, Go ahead.
And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of Yahweh. And Yahweh said to Samuel, hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, go you every man unto his house.
Right. Look, so the same denying that Israel have done to Yahshua, Israel also did the same denying unto Yahweh. And there are several things that have to happen whenever we get to that situation. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 16. Leviticus chapter 16, and let's read verses 5 through 19.
Verse 5. And he shall take of the congregation of the children of Israel 2 kids of the goats for a sin offering, and 1 ram for a burnt offering. And Aaron shall offer his bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself, and make an atonement for himself and for his house.
So when you deal with this atonement, blood must be shed to make an atonement for sin. So now, in the New Testament of things, we know that we have been given one sacrifice that is greater than all the other sacrifices, in that Yahshua was offered up, and his blood was shed to make an atonement for, not for his sins, but for ours. The children of Israel must have been redeemed first, then the children of the world can then be redeemed. That's why the first disciples only went to Israel. Afterwards, Saul came after. He didn't deal with the disciples. He came afterwards. The children have to eat first. If you take food out of your house to go and feed the people down the street, and your kids ain't ate, you got some serious issues. There's something seriously wrong there. Love starts at home and then it's spread abroad. Go ahead.
And he shall take the 2 goats and present them before Yahweh at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And Aaron shall cast lots upon the 2 goats, one lot for Yahweh and the other lot for the scapegoat. And Aaron shall bring the goat upon which Yahweh's lot fell and offer him for a sin offering. But the goat on which the lot fell to be the scapegoat shall be presented alive before Yahweh to make an atonement with him and to let him go for a scapegoat into the wilderness. And Aaron shall bring the bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself, and shall make an atonement for himself and for his house, and shall kill the bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself. And he shall take a censer full of burning coals of fire from off the altar before Yahweh, and his hands full of sweet incense beaten small, and bring it within the veil. And he shall put the incense upon the fire before Yahweh, that the cloud of the incense may cover the mercy seat that is upon the testimony, that he die not. And he shall take of the blood of the bullock, and sprinkle it with his finger upon the mercy seat eastward, and before the mercy seat shall he sprinkle of the blood with his finger 7 times.
So he shall take of the blood of the bullock and sprinkle it with his finger upon the mercy seat. This is Yahweh's seat. This is where Yahweh communes with the children of Israel. But if you don't understand the difference between this blood and the blood of a deceased instrument of reproduction, you don't really understand this. Because see, you thinking blood is blood. And if people don't explain that to you, you might end up doing some things to get yourself killed. Go ahead.
Verse 15. Then shall he kill the goat of the sin offering that is for the people, and bring his blood within the veil, and do with that blood as he did with the blood of the bullock, and sprinkle it upon the mercy seat, and before the mercy seat. And he shall make an atonement for the holy place, because of the uncleanness of the children of Israel, and because of their transgression in all their sins. And so shall he do for the tabernacle of the congregation that remains among them in the midst of their uncleanness. And there shall be no man in the tabernacle of the congregation when he goes in to make an atonement in the holy place, until he come out, and have made an atonement for himself, and for his household, and for all the congregation of Israel. And he shall go out onto the altar that is before Yahweh, and make an atonement for it, and shall take of the blood of the bullock and of the blood of the goat, and put it upon the horns of the altar round about. And he shall sprinkle of the blood upon it with his finger 7 times, and cleanse it, and hallow it from the uncleanness of the children of Israel.
Right. So then this blood must be shed to make an atonement, to put these things back in the right position that it was in before. And as we read these things in the Old Testament, we go in the New Testament and we find the same things happening, but on a spiritual level. Let's go to Revelation chapter 19. Revelation chapter 19, and let's start that at verse 1.
And after these things I heard a great voice of much people in heaven, saying, Hallelujah! Salvation and glory and honor and power unto the Adonai of our Elohim.
And after these things I heard a great voice of much people in heaven saying, Praise Yah. And people said, He got many names. And you find Hallelujah happening over and over. The angels saying hallelujah. They didn't think he had a lot of names, because the one they were praising was Yah. But see, that's that vain game saying that you can worship on any day, you can say any name, but when it comes down to people, we won't pinpoint accuracy when we being exalted. We don't want none of that generic exaltation when it's ours. See, when somebody do something, if they just give out one diploma for everybody, all right, here you go, it got everybody's name on it. Y'all just take that with you. No, I want my own. No, I need my own exaltation now. What my personal diploma, my personal degree? I need mine. Well, no, you want him to share everything. Just any God, any day. Well, why you need pinpoint exaltation then? Go ahead.
For true and righteous are his judgments, for he has judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and has avenged the blood of his servants at her hand.
Right, because the whole earth deals with these things that the great whore has put out, and the great whore has her instruments of whoredom on every corner. In every neighborhood, you're going to find a church and a liquor store. One get you drunk physically, the other one get you drunk spiritually. Go ahead.
And again they said, Praise Yah, and her smoke rose up forever and ever. And the 24 elders and the 4 beasts fell down and worshipped Elohim that sat on the throne, saying, Amen, praise Yah.
Right. So in heaven they saying praise Yah, but they telling you, well, he has many names. But the angels and the beasts and the 24 elders, they didn't say praise counselor, praise mighty wonderful doctor lawyer. No, they said praise Yah. See, all this vain gainsaying got us to the point where we don't want to deal with what's really there before us. Go ahead.
And a voice came out of the throne saying, Praise our Elohim, all you his servants, and you that fear him, both small and great.
Right. If you're going to praise our Elohim name, Yah. So our Elohim got a name. I mean, if the baloney got a name, I know my God supposed to have a name. Baloney got a name. His name Oscar. Don't your baloney got a name? Your baloney have a name? When I was little, my baloney had a name. And his name was Oscar. So if my baloney got a name, I know my God got one. Go ahead.
And I heard as it were the voice of a great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thunderings, saying, Praise Yah.
Right.
For the Adonai Elohim omnipotent reigns.
I heard as it were the voice of a great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thunderings. So the thunder said, Praise Yah. Go ahead.
Let us all be glad and rejoice, and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife has made herself ready.
Right. This marriage feast, this wedding feast that we talked about before, that you got to be working on your clothing for. That same one that Yahshua said, people showed up in their own kind of way, and he said, bind them hand and foot and throw them out here. That's what you're working on your clothing for. Go ahead.
You know, the interesting thing is he's talking about his marriage.
Right. Go ahead.
And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints.
Right. See? And this is the thing. You can go to right down here at this flea market and get a linen outfit for $29. Some of them for less than that. And we'll talk about what we ain't got money for. And then we'll show up with $400 this and $400 that. Hey man, that linen outfit down there cost $29. You know how many fine linen is the righteousness of saints? It cost $29 right down the street. And that's the one with the designs. You can get a regular one for $24. What's the problem? Priorities. See? Priorities. Go ahead.
And he says unto me, Right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he says unto me, These are the true sayings of Elohim. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See you do it not.
See that you do it not. See, nobody who's walking in righteousness gonna let somebody else worship them. So all these folk to be following folks is talking about, I'm the comforter, I'm the pillowcase, I'm the electric blanket. Come down and worship at my feet. I'm this, I'm that. I'm King David. I'm General this. There's something wrong with y'all people. First of all, there's something wrong with the dude that let you worship him. There's something seriously wrong with that dude. Go ahead.
I'm your fellow servant, and of your brethren that have the testimony of Yahshua. Worship Elohim, for the testimony of Yahshua is the spirit of prophecy.
And this is where those brothers are getting themselves in some serious trouble, because you're taking Yahweh's glory unto yourself by allowing people who are trying to serve him to serve you and to let them worship you. You took Yahweh's glory, and he's going to take it back in vainglorious fashion. Go ahead.
And I saw heaven opened, and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he does judge and make war.
I'm sorry. The title of that right there said the second coming of Christ in glory, right? And then it says, and I saw heaven open, and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he does judge and make war. They said he not angry with you. I ain't never really seen a nice war. Have you seen one of those? Where they just war with kindness and just smile. They don't want to smile you to death. I'm gonna smile. I ain't never really seen that kind of war. There's anger in war. See, people don't understand what the Mashiach is coming back for. He already came and suffered. He done with suffering. He ain't come here to suffer no more. When he come back, he coming back for war. It ain't no nice war. So that whole lie, he ain't angry with you, he angry with somebody. Because he ain't shedding blood out of niceness. Go ahead.
Verse 12. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Elohim.
It is written, it says, he shall be bathed in blood. But he not angry with anybody. See, that's how you get to continue in your sins, believing that the Most High is happy with all of those things. Go ahead.
You know, even right here at verse 13, just to see how the two books go back and forth, it says, and his name is called the Word of Elohim. Genesis says what? In the beginning was the Word.
And the Word was Elohim, and the Word was with Elohim. Right. Go ahead.
And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean.
Armies. They coming for war. Yet we think Uncle Junebug in heaven, they got a war, they got to fight in heaven, where the adversary is kicked out. Now where your Uncle Junebug gonna be while angels fight? He gonna get a punch in? That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But so that we can bypass righteous judgment, that's what this lie helps us do. Because if the person is dead and is already in heaven, that means they bypassed judgment. Go ahead.
You know, interesting thing in this whole clothed in white, we've always been taught that white in war is what? Surrender. So you see this, you think it's some peaceful event.
You're gonna be deeply wrong, because he coming to take care of business. And see, imagine if you sitting around with your hands out, oh, Christ has come back for peace, love, and tranquility, and then your head get cut off. Bad situation. See, you didn't understand the spirit in which he came. See, if you being taught all of those things, you don't understand that this second time that he's coming back, he's not coming back to sit there and hold hands and sing Kumbaya. He's coming back for war. He's coming to set up a righteous governmental system here on earth. And if you don't understand that, you ain't nothing like thinking that you finna have a peaceful meeting and then get punched in the mouth. You need to know you about to get punched in the mouth. See, if you know you about to get punched in the mouth, you can tense up. And it might not break your jaw. But if you just sitting there talking, hey, baka, that jaw gonna come all the way over here. Because you done got hit with your mouth open. There's a reason why they tell the boxers, put in this mouthpiece and bite down. Because if you get hit with your mouth open, you gonna be, this how your mouth gonna look, just like this right here. This rest of your face, and this your jaw. Right over here. And it's gonna be hard to talk. What's happening, man? You gonna be talking like Sammy Davis, shaboing, boing, man. I'm just saying, brother. Man, what happened to you? I was talking when a guy hit me right there in the jaw. Because you ain't ready for the fight. Why are you not ready? Because Yahweh put all of this information here. What are you preparing for? We got a spiritual war coming to us. Yet these people sitting around talking about love and peace and tranquility. And we talking about judgment upon the earth. Yahshua said the same thing in the beginning and the end matches. But if you lie to the people and tell the people that they're going to be raptured up and they're not going to have to deal with any of this, then they're not preparing spiritually for all of these things. Go ahead.
Revelations chapter 19 and verse 15. And out of his mouth goes a sharp sword, and with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treads the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of the Almighty El. And he has on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Adonai of Adonais.
Right. And just as they denied the king before, they're going to deny the king again, while still proclaiming how much they love the Lord. But understand, Lord means Baal. Baal is their sun god. See, they worship the sun, S-U-N. That's why their holy day, the day that they worship, is on Sunday. See, they worship a different sun than you worship. And Yahweh going to expose the difference. So we want to believe that everybody just like us, that, our family going, once they get a chance, they going to hear this truth. You're going to find out just how deep that sword is. Yahshua says, I didn't come to set peace in the house. I came to set a man at variance. A man against his father, a woman against her mother and the mother-in-law, daughter against, what does that? The word. Because you got personal preferences, and then you got what Yahweh prefers. And that's going to be that dividing line. Because you got one side that's going to do what they prefer in their own heart and mind. And then you got the other side of the house who's going to follow what thus saith Yahweh. And that dividing line going to cut right down the middle of that house. Go ahead.
And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, Come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great Elohim, that you may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great.
Right. So there were these natural beasts that were sacrificed, that had to shed their blood to make an atonement for Israel and for the sanctuary and for the holy place. Now do understand that the earth as a whole was Yahweh's creation, and the paradise of man was given in it. So now man has to cleanse this holy paradise that was given unto him. And the only way to do that is to shed the blood. Blood must be shed to make an atonement for sin. And when you get right down to it, it's the sin of those who perverted it. So they're going to be gathered together for war so that they can purify the earth, not knowing that that's what they're going to do. They're going to shed their blood to purify the earth. So here's the thing. You either going to have one of these. You either going to shed your blood to purify the earth, or you're going to be able to live in a purified earth. You ain't got but one of those. Choose you which one of those you're going to be. Go ahead.
And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army.
All these people walking around talking about how much they love the Lord, they going to go to fight against Christ. The very ones that's singing, oh Lord. Like, we're going to kill that dude on that horse. We're going to kill. You do know that's Christ, right? And they actually believe they can win. We got advanced military equipment. We're going to be able to kill him. Good luck with that. Meanwhile, professing their love for Christ while trying to kill him. You can get no more twisted than that. Go ahead.
And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse. Which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh.
Right. Now remember, as they killed our people, they left us hanging on the tree so the birds could come feed from our flesh. What goes around comes around. So now the same one that they said ain't angry. Said Christ ain't angry. God is full of love. He says in verse 21, and the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse. He that sitting on the horse is Christ. They told you he's full of love. He just love everybody. He's just so loving. He just love. You can do whatever you want. He still love you. He just loving. He just love. He just love you to death. Oh, it's gonna be death. And right here, him that sat upon the horse, and the sword proceeds out of his mouth. How does the sword proceed out of his mouth? The word. The very word that you decided not to read is what's gonna kill you. That's why the sword proceeds out of his mouth. He speak the word, them very words that you decided not to hear, that's what's coming out of his mouth. And every time he read that word turns to a sword and it's killing him. But they've been told he ain't angry. So, as it is written, there's none of us that is without sin. No, not one of us. But we have to go through. You fall, you get back up. You get back on the horse. You get back on the path. Because at the end of the day, we got to be purified when Yeshua shows back up. At least we die along with the heathen. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.